The air inside the courtroom was thick with tension. Every seat was taken, reporters lined the back wall, and cameras waited to catch every word. In the center of it all stood one woman, Jasmine Crockett, a rising political star, loved by millions, feared by some, and criticized by many for her outspoken nature. She was known for her fierce debates and her refusal to be silenced. But today was different. She wasn't here to speak for others. She was here to defend herself. The double doors creaked open, and a tall figure entered, Judge Edith Jones. Her reputation preceded her. Known for her sharp intellect and no-nonsense demeanor, she was the kind of judge who demanded absolute respect. The moment she took her seat, the noise faded into silence. "Court is now in session," she said firmly, the echo of her gavel cutting through the room. "Representative Jasmine Crockett, please approach the stand." Jasmine rose, adjusting her blazer, her expression calm but her heart racing. Cameras followed her every step as she made her way to the front. She had been in heated political debates before, but this felt different. It wasn't just about politics. It was about her character. She took her oath, placed her hand on the Bible, and sat down. The clerk began reading the allegations that during a congressional hearing weeks earlier, Jasmine had been disrespectful and disruptive toward officials. The clip had gone viral. Some viewers cheered her boldness. Others called it arrogance. Now, she was facing a possible contempt of court citation, not for breaking the law, but for breaking expectations. Judge Jones adjusted her glasses and looked up. "Ms. Crockett," she began, her voice calm but commanding, "I've followed your career closely. You're a bright woman, articulate, determined, but what concerns me today is your attitude." The words hung heavy in the air. The audience murmured softly. Jasmine sat still, expression unreadable. "You speak with conviction," the judge continued. "But too often, that conviction becomes confrontation. You interrupt, you argue, and you forget that respect is the foundation of this chamber. That kind of behavior may impress your followers, but not this court." For a moment, Jasmine didn't respond. Everyone waited. They expected her to fire back, the way she did on the Senate floor. But she stayed quiet. The silence stretched until the judge leaned slightly forward and said, almost softly, "You need to remember, attitude without respect is chaos." A few in the audience nodded. Others whispered under their breath. Cameras zoomed in on Jasmine's face. Then she stood up, slowly, calmly. "With all due respect, Your Honor," she said, her voice steady, "sometimes what people call attitude is actually confidence." The courtroom fell dead silent. He's assertive. When a woman does it, she's emotional. When a politician stands firm, he's strong. When I do the same, I'm told I need to watch my attitude. A few reporters' pens froze midair. Even Judge Jones seemed caught off guard by the quiet power in Jasmine's words. "I came here today," Jasmine continued, "not to defend my tone, but to defend my truth. Because sometimes the only way to be heard in this world is to speak louder than the noise around you." The judge's expression softened, but she said nothing. Jasmine took a breath and sat back down. The air in the room was electric. Everyone knew they had just witnessed something rare, not defiance but dignity. For a while, the judge simply stared at her. "Confidence and arrogance walk a thin line, Ms. Crockett," she finally said. "Make sure you know which side you're standing on." "I do, Your Honor," Jasmine replied quietly. "I always have." A few minutes later, testimony resumed. Lawyers presented documents. Witnesses answered questions. But the heart of the hearing had already taken place in that brief exchange, where two powerful women tested the boundaries of respect and resilience. After nearly 2 hours, Judge Jones called for recess. She stepped out of the courtroom, leaving the audience buzzing. Outside, social media was already on fire. Clips of Jasmine's statement spread across platforms. Hashtags like "George Confidence," "Not Attitude," and "George Jasmine Crockett Speaks" began trending. Some users called her speech the moment of the year. Others accused her of showboating. But inside the courthouse, away from the noise, Jasmine sat quietly by herself, hands folded, eyes down. She knew this moment wasn't about winning or losing. It was about being understood. When the judge returned, the final statements began. The courtroom stilled again as she prepared to deliver her verdict. "Representative Crockett, Judge Jones began. "This court acknowledges that passion can be both a weapon and a shield. You have used yours to challenge systems and speak truth to power. But in doing so, you have also crossed lines of decorum that this court cannot ignore." She paused. The room went silent. "However," she continued, "challenging authority is not a crime. In fact, it's often how change begins. Therefore, this court finds no contempt." The gavel struck. There was a moment of stunned quiet. Then a wave of applause broke out. It wasn't protocol, but no one stopped it. Even Judge Jones smiled faintly, shaking her head as if amused by the emotion her courtroom had just witnessed. Jasmine turned toward her and gave a small nod of respect, a mutual acknowledgement between two strong women from different worlds.